Might want to mute it. There we go. All right, thank you for joining us. Apologies for the technical difficulties. We had some internet outages here in Studio 2. I'm Caleb Chevalier. Arden Gregory is joining me, and Lucas McCoy is up in Revolution 91.7, bringing you all facets of coverage tonight for the severe weather we have in place moving across the region in south-central Kentucky this evening. Quickly, I'm going to share with you the radar image that we have. Data's cooperating again. And here we have a tornado warning, and this came out 4 minutes ago. This was issued at 7:36. The text states at 7:33, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located 8 miles southeast of Hartford and moving north at 45 miles an hour. So that does indeed key in what we were saying earlier. It's starting to take a more northerly trajectory. Radar indicated rotations with this storm will be near Horton, Rosine, Dukehurst, Jingo, Sunnydale, Oleton, Narrows, Sulphur Springs, Dundee, and Megan within the next 15-20 minutes. This expires at 8:05. So this was the same storm that was moving out of Rochester that we thought had some decent rotation in it. Ended up the National Weather Service in Louisville felt the same, and now we have a tornado warning for this cell. Indeed, greens and reds side by side, and they're not exactly dull colors either. We have some inbound and outbound just to the north and east of Beaver Dam. So Hartford Beaver Dam is your metro area in Ohio County. This is straying just to the east. I believe that's the airport thereabouts. Once the Natcher Parkway runs somewhere through there. In fact, we can get more local with the highways and such using our lower res. Yeah, so there's the Natcher, and the airport is about at this intersection here. And that's where this also keys in on the rotation. We're using the Louisville radar for both of these, so not as pronounced, but still certainly there based on this slice. Sort of riding together and coming into a couplet here just east of Beaver Dam. So let's see. Let's run back to level 2, because that seems our best. That certainly paints the picture the best. And on radar, well, it's sort of closing up. At this point, I would certainly expect it to be rain wrapped, so you won't see it. Don't go outside and attempt to look at it or find it, because it most likely is rain wrapped at this time. So Arden, this is going to be moving down the line. I mean, places like Fordsville. I know Rosine is along. It's either US 62 or State Road 69. This is sort of my neck of the woods we're getting into again. But let's see. So this is going to be headed down towards Fordsville. It's moving north, so it looks like about the next 20 minutes it's going to be impacting those locations. So anyway, to run down again the severe your tornado safety plan right now, if you are in the Beaver Dam area, or I should just outline this particular polygon here because it is moving north, rather maybe north-northeast at this time, but see if we can get some closer communities. Here's the stuff, and you heard us mention these when the warning came out. Oleton, Dundee, Narrows, Fordsville, and Rosine is in here somewhere. It may not come up, but I know it's along. I believe it's on this highway right here. You need to be in your tornado-safe place at this time. Nothing confirmed right now, but radar rotation looks fairly healthy, and it's moving to the north. So locations like Dundee, especially Narrows, Oleton, and all the way up towards Fordsville, need to be in your safe shelter at this time. Lowest floor of your home, whether it be a basement or, if not, interior room on your first floor, ideally a closet or a bathroom. And be sure to cover your head, and if the bathroom's your interior room, get into the tub and be sure to, again, cover your head. A helmet works for that. Just keep yourself safe. So, Arden, the latest prognosis on this storm, we're waiting on the next scan here, but where's the I mean, we got some rotation. Again, it should just be east of Beaver Dam. So what's your prognosis?
Well, you've said a lot of what there is to say. I mean,
yeah.
There is clearly a radar indication of a tornado here. With those greens and reds so close to each other, that's a clear indicator of rotation there. Again, this has not been verified yet. However, as he mentioned before, if there is a tornado, it will be very difficult to see because we would expect it to be rain-wrapped at this point. So your best bet is to just stay safe, go ahead and take shelter, don't try and go outside and look at it, and it should be moving through this area in the next 20 minutes or so. So if you are in that area, be sure to take shelter immediately and take this seriously.
Absolutely. I do tend to be long-winded, but yes, you covered it as well. That's certainly the most, that's the pertinent information we need to get across right now, is that while nothing's confirmed, and there's your latest reflectivity slice, so hopefully the radar, the wind data will update soon, but Certainly looks to be a possible tornado on the ground. Would not doubt it based on the wind velocities we're seeing at this time. Hartford, you're okay. In fact, you're not even included in the polygon, but it's places to the northeast of Hartford and south of Fordsville that we're most concerned about. The warning just goes for Ohio County, and this is for another 20 minutes. Beyond Ohio County is beyond our area of responsibility, so we're going to walk you through this. This is the old severe thunderstorm warning, I believe. Yeah, this was before the tornado warning came out, and they were just thinking 60-mile-per-hour winds. That doesn't take precedent anymore, of course. We have this severe or tornado warning in effect for Ohio County. And let me trace it here real quick. The latest statement, yeah, just capable of producing a tornado. So nothing confirmed as of yet, and we've got plenty of folks back here in Studio 2 watching Twitter and staying on chat with National Weather Service. Excuse me. Keeping in contact with them and monitoring everything. So if something does come down the line where reports of damage or perhaps something on the ground, we'll get that to you. And it looks like we have something new loading in shortly, so that's good. This is still 5 minutes old, so again we are running a little bit behind. I may be actually racing through these too fast. There we go. So again, yeah, 5 minutes old, but even this would suggest that the rotation is now north of US 62. And there's newest slice. Okay, so yeah, we are still getting data every 3 minutes. That's good. As of 7:44, you still have reds and greens side by side. Here's your couplet. Perhaps not as noticeable as it was down near Rochester. We were tracking here Rochester, and technical difficulties bumped us off the air, so we apologize. But at that point, it was severe thunderstorm warned. We felt a tornado warning probably should have been. Louisville opted for the severe thunderstorm warning, but it was at 7:45 that they did issue the tornado warning for this area. So, and I believe storm relative velocity tells the same picture. Yeah, again, perhaps broad, but it's there. Certainly in the outbound winds, the reds stand out to you here. And this is also at 7:44. Okay, so that's good. We're getting our data in as we should. The velocities, I mean, it looks really, really messy on reflectivity, not as well defined as that prefrontal cell that we were tracking across the state line, but it's kind of merging with the prefrontal squall line, if you will, although it's not very potent at this point, certainly. So we're hoping that that will help limit the ingredients in play, but until then, it is moving to the north because it's sort of locked itself into the line. And here's your couplet. Again, let me just go ahead and place a marker there where it really would, if we had a tornado, it would be in this location, east-northeast of Hartford, moving to the north at 40 miles an hour. The locations in here, again, we're not going to get them with this map. Let's switch to the other. Narrows and Dundee and Oleton, yeah, those are the ones up next. And Fordsville down the line, you all do need to remain in your tornado safe shelter. If you're not there already, please do so now. Again, no confirmation as of yet. It's radar indicated, but it certainly looks good from a radar standpoint, I should say. And hopefully we don't have anything on the ground with this particular cell. So that's the diagnosis from down here in Studio 2 with Arden and myself. Lucas, I'm going to toss it to you just for a moment. I want to know your insights. I know you've been tracking this along upstairs. We've been using the Louisville site. You may have been on Hopkinsville, or we're probably a little too far away from Nashville site, but are you seeing anything different that lines up with what we were saying?
Yeah, I've been flipping back and forth between the two sites. It also does look like exactly what you're saying. If I go to the Nashville site, I may still be able to pull up a couple road names in the area, and I will be Old Halls Creek Road along State Route 1544, as well as Cedar Grove Road. Those are the areas that are at the most risk for this tornadic storm to impact them. Also, if we had a tornado, it would probably be right along, pretty close to the intersection of Halls Creek Road and State Route 1544. Moving towards the area just to the north along Salem Road, as well as State Highway 878. So if you're along any of those areas, again, Cedar Grove Road, State Highway 878, McKiff Hayes Road, Halls Creek Road, especially at the intersection of Halls Creek Road and State Route 1544, if you're in any of those areas, you're going to want to make sure you're taking shelter right now. So it's kind of pretty much the same things you've been saying, that rotation sort of is cycling between one candidate stronger than the other, so it could produce a tornado at any moment if it hasn't already.
That's right, and the hope is that it will begin to wind down as this front overtakes it. and it's certainly not in the environment it used to be when it was a lot healthier. But we'll go ahead and show you the radar again. Let's see. So, and this is as of, well, now I'm looking at old stuff here. We need to cycle it forward in time a little bit. There we go. 744 was our last. That's, I think our wind data is a little behind, but base reflectivity, we're getting something a little more often. Yeah, so that's 4 minutes old. And then on, let me go ahead and remove that marker because that's likely not where the tornado is anymore. This is just a minute old. This came in about 30 seconds ago. Storm relative velocity would indicate that our couplet is now over State Road 69, moving into Dundee. So again, as we noted these locations earlier, you do need to be in your safe place, especially if you're along State Road 69 up into Fordsville, and Fordsville you need to be getting there right now too, because it looks like it's going to track not necessarily along, but fairly close to State Road 69. And let's see if we've got, this may tell a similar story. And we've got, let's see, I'm sure some people are trying to get with us on Facebook right now. I hear the messages going off. And is this the latest? No, this is still 744. So, and this is 746. So we're still waiting on that here, but it says update cycles. There we go. Okay, so we got that back. How does it look for us, Arden? What's it looking like near the Dundee and Narrows area?
Well, again, that's the area that this rotation is going to be headed into. So if there is a tornado on the ground and you're in that area, you are in danger at this point, and you need to be taking this seriously and taking shelter. Again, this is not confirmed, but whatever rotation is in that area is headed towards the Narrows community, and if you're in that area, if you haven't gotten to your tornado safe place yet, you need to at this time. So again, there is fairly clear rotation on the radar here. However, it hasn't been confirmed yet, but as we mentioned earlier on, there's a good chance it is rain wrapped, so that would make spotting very difficult as far as getting actual reports of seeing the actual tornado. We're mostly just waiting for damage reports at this point.
Exactly, yeah. While it's good news that we don't have any confirmation that something's on the ground, as she touched on, it's difficult to ensure that, or confirm that there is something out there, because especially Ohio County, the hilly terrain, and sun going down and rain wrapped as well, may just make it nearly impossible to see. And that's so we may be waiting on some damage reports, or like you said, we may have to use damage reports as confirmation, because right now it's just really hard to tell. And as we stressed earlier, don't go outside and try to see the tornado for yourself. If anything, if you're in this polygon, you need to be in your safe place at this time. Since we mentioned debris, let me just bring up the correlation coefficient and just run it back for a few. And it looks like, okay, that dropped off dramatically. We were a little worried about it over Rochester, and unfortunately that's when our connection quit. But here we are again, tracking it live with you. This is the latest scan from the lower res data, and what's good is that it's very difficult to define a couplet here. Very broad, especially over the Narrows and Olton region. I keep cycling back in time. I think it's because of the keypad I have here. But anyway, base velocity will tell you the same thing. Yeah. With perhaps, this is also from 749, so maybe again a little something over Dundee. But for this instance, I'd certainly like to use the high res just to nail it down. This is, again, a minute old. So if we've got something spinning, something on the ground, it would be here. This is in the Rosine area, I believe. My geography may be off. I know it's on one of these two highways. Again, the communities mentioned here are places like Sulphur Springs, Dundee, Narrows, Megan, Elmich, Fordsville, and Hansville. Okay, so that's right. Rosine is in the clear. Rosine is on this highway out here, I believe, which is why it was not included in the. It was included in the previous statement, but now they've trimmed it. So, also the severe thunderstorm warning is gone, probably because it reached 750. But honestly, that could have been trimmed sooner, because right now the really focus is here on this tornado warning. And I'm going to search here. Let's go back to base reflectivity, or a similar product. This is just keying in on some of the hues of rotation we have. Again, if this were getting into deeper blues or launch into the greens or yellows, we'd be looking at some real rotation. So it is indicating something there, but this is what I was looking for, the county line. So we serve up to Ohio, and they haven't issued anything for Grayson County, which I wouldn't expect them to, because it's really kind of steering away from Grayson. So we serve Grayson and Ohio, so Ohio is going to be the last one on our watch for this. And again, data's about a few minutes old. Hopefully we'll get some in here shortly. It says next update's coming down in 48 seconds. So this is newer, 751, I should say. But it's more the same. Rotation's definitely weakening.
Yeah, it looked more serious when we were following it in Rochester than it does now. So again, you want to stay in your safe area until this warning expires, but I wouldn't expect them to issue another one once this expires. Personally, it seems to be weakening.
Yeah, and I think they timed it well, Arden. They had the warning going out until 8:05, so we have another 10 minutes left on this warning. I think by then they'll be able to say that it's weakened enough, or if it exits Ohio entirely, then yeah, they'll let the warning expire. In fact, there they go. They trimmed it because obviously places like Hartford and Beaver Dam and those communities are no longer in danger. The storm has cleared that area. So if we do have a tornado, which while rotation is weaker, that doesn't mean there isn't one. It would be over the Dundee Narrows area. So hopefully, if not, or by now, you are in your tornado safe place, and especially the other community, and this is State Road 54 coming up here. Fordsville is the main location in northern Ohio County. So if you're in Fordsville or locations in northern Ohio County, you do need to be in your tornado safe place. We can't say for sure that there is something on the ground. Again, no ground truth confirmation at this point, but there is a tornado warning in effect for your area until 8:05, so you do need to take those precautions and do seek shelter at this time. Also, Lucas, I know I do want to touch in with you guys periodically. We have some people upstairs who are all over Twitter looking at the reports and staying in communication with chat with the National Weather Service. Has anything come down the wire that is of note or should be passed along?
We have not actually got any reports from the Weather Service. The ham operator out of Ohio County said he has not got any reports on his end. And the talk between the meteorologist up in Louisville with the Weather Service is agreeing with what we're saying, that the rotation is weakening quite a bit. More storm reports are coming out of Tennessee with the line that's moving towards us right at the moment in Bowling Green. So it's going to be watched for possible warnings along that line.
Okay.
For areas just upstream of that line. So, but as of now, there's not been any reports of damage or any confirmation of anything on the ground in Ohio County.
Yeah, and I believe that would be part of Louisville's responsibility, but again, like you said, after that, it's no longer part of the coverage area for the WKU Storm team, and if they do decide to issue something, it'd be beyond our area. But that's good news. So the hammer operator, they've been reading the reports upstairs, and nothing as of yet, so that's good. And not really a whole lot to suggest that we have something on the ground tearing up trees and buildings. No real debris correlation there. Certainly does tend to get weaker here with the newest data, so this is just a few minutes old. Very slight, if anything, just south of Fordsville. And that's what level 3 is saying. Level 2 might have something better. This is also 3 minutes old. Really starting to get just wrapped up in this squall line, whereas it was sort of on its own. It was its own animal out here in Todd and Logan County, working its way up into Butler. And now, especially if you look at it, it was down here in Logan. It's just really shot up north ever since it was doing a northeasterly track earlier, because the main line caught up to it, and hopefully it'll wash it out soon. So what's interesting, okay, this is level 2, and it doesn't diminish really the tornado threat at all here, because we do have some tight inbound and outbound winds. This is right over State Road 69 moving into Fordsville. So Whitesville, you're okay. And Whitesville is in Hancock County. No, it's in Ohio, but it's not included in the polygon. So you're okay in Whitesville. It's Fordsville. It's under the gun right now, and considering this is really just going north at this point, it's going to be paralleling State Road 69. Yeah, that's 69 that goes into Fordsville and then out north again. And I don't think they've changed the statement on. Well, they have. Okay, so as of 7:54, they changed the wording a little bit. Remains in effect for northeastern Ohio County. 7:51. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. Is located 9 miles southeast of Whitesville, moving north at 50, just a little bit faster than the previous bulletin. Dangerous storm will affect Haynesville and Fordsville. So let's go and see if we can find Haynesville on the map. It's going to be a very small community. Our maps probably won't pick it up, but it's in there somewhere, and there's the newest slice on this one. So again, broad, weak rotation. At least that's the view from there. We get a little bit more in depth because this is high resolution, and both these are out of Louisville. So this is moving into Fordsville, and let's see. Yeah, I just read the. I wonder if they're indicating. This storm previously had some a warning for penny-sized hail. That looks to be gone as well. And I do want to emphasize that the bulletin says what we were mentioning as well. Heavy rainfall may hide this tornado. Do not wait to see or hear the tornado. Take cover in now. So if those of you in Fordsville, again, if you're not in your tornado safe place, you need to be there now. And certainly don't go outside and try to attempt to see it, because especially with the terrain and all in Ohio County, that's just going to make it worse. But it's rain wrapped at this time almost certainly. I mean, you can look at if I had to place a marker for the tornado, if it were there, and yeah, according to reflectivity, it's just all washed out in rain right now. So, and Arden, I'm just taking a look down the line here for Bowling Green. We haven't had any real threats for Warren County or Bowling Green at this time, and it looks like our squall line is well, there really were no warnings even back through our western counties, but it looks like it's coming apart. So.
Yeah, it really does look to be weakening to some degree. I don't see us, unless it re-intensifies for some reason. I don't see us getting too many warnings out of this once this one expires.
So yeah, I wouldn't rule it out because while this hit has been on diminishing, I mean, we're going to be watching it tonight. Should the low-level jet decides to kick up again, which I mean we've been caught in those scenarios in the past here in Bowling Green, so that may occur. We may see some periodic strengthening. So we'll be watching it for certain, both here in Studio 2 and in Revolution. I believe, let's see, if I didn't have the radar up, now I do. Okay, so that's better. And this is what Art and I were touching on. This line, which was pretty well advertised moving in sometime this evening, but is rather weak when you look at it. Deteriorating, yes. That doesn't mean we won't see some pulses of severe weather gaining traction again. And like we said, maybe the low-level jet will do some enhancing with that later tonight. But for now, it looks like we're doing well. The warning goes till 8:05. So
hey, Caleb.
Yes,
Weather
sir.
Service Louisville just allowed that to expire just now, actually. So for Ohio.
Okay. Ohio has expired. Okay, so they're actually going to cut it 3 minutes early. Which means at any time, and again, this is just sort of a data issue on our end, but okay, level 3's already got rid of it, so, and, yeah, from what they're looking at, yeah, your greens and reds, it's gone, and that's good because it really was encroaching on the Fordsville area at that time, and I think level 2 will tell you the same thing. This is 3 minutes old, so let's go to our velocities. Yeah, broadening out, especially compared to a frame ago, or a couple frames ago, certainly broader, and it is approaching 8:05. So at the very least, it could ramp up again, but it will be out of Ohio County by that time. And yeah, radar seems to suggest that it's really just starting to bow out. Outflow is becoming the dominant mode with this storm. It's really starting to push it away. Yes, sir. Okay, let's go and diagnose that, because switch to Hopkinsville. We noticed that parts along this line have a tendency to, curl and spin. So I'm going to run to Hopkinsville radar and see what we've got there. Is he looking at Nashville? Okay, we'll go to Nashville for the same kind of view. Still waiting on that. Here's level 3. Okay. Again, parts of the line may look benign, but it's the winds in these storms that are going to be providing a little bit of interesting activity. I can see, yeah, he's onto something there. You got sort of a wrapping motion here, very broad at this time, and we're going to wait for that to hone in. What are you seeing upstairs? Are you looking at? We've got Nashville on down here. Are you on Hopkinsville?
Yes, I am actually on the Hopkinsville
Okay.
site. It's, I've been actually talking to them up here about that for the last couple of things.
Okay.
It has several little areas, especially down in Tennessee. They're sort of curling around down south of that storm. Several.
Yeah.
They're sort of losing. It's trying to lose its linear structure to some extent. It's like it's
Well,
trying to sort of
you have to watch them for sure. Those are the kinds of things that can spring up on you, especially in these environments. So, low-level data is trying to work its way in. This is what Landon Hampton, a WKU alum and meteorologist and storm spotter, was eyeing this. He sent this out on Twitter. Very broad, and if I could, we'd like to use level 2. So here we go. This one loaded in, and it suggests. Okay, so we'll keep an eye on it. Because anytime you see something starting to curl in on the leading edge of something, it's a little bit of a tip-off as to something trying to spin there. Maybe have like a cane-like formation just south of Russellville. Let's see. Are you guys noting anywhere else along the line that may be an issue? Because sometimes you get multiple kinks along these lines in setups like this.
South Central Todd County, maybe.
South Central Todd.
Maybe it's really broad, but you got the one.
Okay. I think what I meant to do, because I had Lucas, I muted our mic so Lucas could talk. So there we go. I need to bring the radar up again. So this is what they were looking at. Inbound and outbound, it's very broad at this point, but could suggest something that something's trying to wrap and rotate. That's the first sign you look for. If you see something like this, just keep an eye on it, because then you have to watch and see if it develops into something bigger. There's your storm relative velocity, which is really what we ought to be using in this case, and indeed, maybe trying to get something started. So having said that, we have no warnings on the board for any of our counties. This is normally where we'd sign off, but we don't want to leave you hanging. We're going to stay here and just watch this for a little while, track those scans as they come in, and see if it does anything. Again, radar just looks like a mess. A bunch of rain, really unorganized, but you never know what's going on in the core of these storms. It's the winds that matter.
We just got a storm report from Cromwell in Ohio County. It was trees down.
Cromwell?
From the Weather Service, yeah.
Was it a wind report?
Yes, thunderstorm wind damage.
Okay, wind damage, okay. That was in Cromwell. Cromwell is on near the river. You have to go, yeah. It is in this, there's Cromwell. So this would have been, we know the rotation tracked up from Rochester to about Cool Springs and up to Beaver Dam. But they easily could have experienced some strong outflow there in Cromwell. So, and we'll be throwing those reports at you throughout the night as we receive them. We'll be sure to pass those along to you. And you can also check out our live blog. We should have that up and running on our wkustormteam.blogspot.com. We've got a tab that says severe weather. In situations like these, there'll be live updates there, so you can always go there for more information. Couple quick diagnoses on the line. I mean, there's some interesting looking features near Springfield. Springfield's in Robertson County, so that is another county that we are responsible for. And then the other one here in south of Russellville in that is Logan County. Excuse me. So aside from that, I mean, I'm not seeing a whole lot much else. We don't have any warnings on the board, so we let those go. And thankfully, haven't heard anything out of Ohio County yet. But this is really all we've got. We've got just going to keep an eye on these broad rotation things, especially along the spin-ups along the line. We've seen it in fall scenarios like this before. If this happens, you got to keep an eye out for those. So Springfield, right now, we'll watch that, and Russellville. And if you guys behind the scenes see anything that stands out, just let me know. We'll get on with that. Don't want to hang. We'll hang on to the live stream as long as we need to make sure these don't turn into something weird. And it's good that the guys mentioned this, because we probably would have signed off with that warning being gone. It's now 8:09, so again, yeah, the warnings expired 4 minutes ago, but we're going to be keeping an eye on this. And level 3, again, nothing standing out on radar. What does this say about Springfield? It's also got just a little bit there. Mm-hmm. If you have greens wrapping down like this and then reds beside it, it just sort of looks like a hook shape or whatnot. Especially because green's inbound. We're using Nashville radar, so inbound winds that want to do this and then like curl back inside, that's what you got to watch for. So we'll keep an eye on that. Anything else that stands out to you, Arden? I know we've been sort of looking at this as we go, but
yeah, as you said, these two areas of kind of more broad rotation are kind of the most interesting parts of this storm right now. as far as radar goes, as you mentioned before, it's very disorganized and messy looking. Nothing really stands out on that. But as you keep mentioning, the winds is where you really want to look for storms like these, and we do have these areas of broad rotation that we will keep an eye on. But at this time, the Weather Service hasn't seen anything that they felt the need to warn yet.
That's right. And I'm sure they're looking at it, but yeah, right now they're going to let it go. Just keeping an eye on it, monitoring the progress of that. I know a news slice just came in. This is 8:08. So we have, let's see, and especially compared to what it looked like before, that notch down in Logan County, at least from Nashville's perspective, just kind of diminished. I'd be interested to see how this during out in Springfield comes together, because while it's not tight, it's just interesting that we have some higher velocities on either side that look like they want to start coming together. So, and yeah, I mean, I hadn't looked at this. Was from 8:05, so you kind of got almost some notching action there near Springfield. So we'll monitor that. And that's a little old. So advanced, and this level 3 data as well just sort of takes that away in central and southern Logan County, so that's good. Maybe wants to bring some inbound and outbound winds here north of Springfield. The brighter green's there north of Springfield, so if nothing else, we're watching that because it looks like something's wanting to. It's a fairly active part of the storm near north of Springfield. That is central Robertson County. Anyway, so hate to sound like a broken record, and it looks like, let's see, I was gonna. Lucas is off his post right now. He's probably going and checking on the reports and such behind the scenes. So we'll go back to screen share. If I can remember to do it this time. There we go. Anyways, the whole line really. We have warnings up to the north. That's the area responsibility for Indianapolis. Let me go to base frequency just codes. And then it certainly hasn't been a quiet night down in Dixie Alley. They've had all sorts of warnings down there, racing through northern Mississippi, southern Tennessee. Now it's working in southern Tennessee and northern Alabama. But that is far away from our vantage point, and certainly that won't be working its way here anytime soon. Instead, we just have these little lingering things along the line, which we're waiting to see if they decide to do anything, and it may not. The ingredients, like we said, sometimes the low-level jet tends to show up at night, but on the flip side, we're losing all the energy from the sun, and we didn't get a whole lot of it because of the cloud cover today. But sun's gone down, lose that heating effect, in turn losing some of that instability. Instability isn't the biggest factor in stuff like this when we get into these fall scenarios, and you've probably heard us say this, but really it's the shear, the wind shear through the atmosphere that matters, and not quite as much of an unstable atmosphere. Because the shear just tends to take over. You don't need as much instability in a fall situation. So, and we didn't have a whole lot today, but it was enough, as you saw, to spawn possible tornadoes in Todd County and perhaps in Ohio. No word there, but we'll wait and see on that. Had some impressive pictures coming out of Clarksville, Tennessee, of a possible tornado on the ground. So it doesn't take many ingredients, especially in late October. You just need strong winds aloft to get these things going, and stability is not exactly a major factor. So we may close this down soon. We're just going to wait for another couple scans to come out to make sure that it's not doing anything suspicious. We want something to sneak up on us, so we're going to monitor it.
Yeah, Dr. Durkee was watching this, and he said this line of storms nearly here has all sorts of small spins.
Yeah, and he's looking at, I wonder if he's using Hopkinsville. Either one is pretty close. But Hopkinsville, the line is now past Hopkinsville radar, so we're going to kind of look back, take a back view of it. Yeah, and it's showing more or less the same thing. No severe thunderstorm warnings with us either, so the winds that are being pushed ahead of the storm are not exactly meeting severe criteria. I'm certain it's going to be gusty out there, especially for places like Warren County and Bowling Green. This main line is due to arrive soon. No severe warnings. Maybe a bit gusty out there when it arrives. Best guess is the gust front would be where you see these sort of darker shades. It's running through Morgantown, down through Auburn, down on the Simpson-Logan County line. Let's see.
Yeah, so although this isn't warned at this time, it's not exactly something you're going to want to be out in. As you can see, there is some fairly heavy rain out there, and as he mentioned before, although they're not severe criteria winds, it is going to be rather gusty out there, and windy to say the least. Even if it's not severe criteria, could easily knock some dead branches down, things of that nature. So.
Yeah, I mean, these may be having winds of 40 miles per hour. It takes 58 to be meeting severe criteria, but 40 to 50 wouldn't necessarily surprise me. Also, in terms of being out and about, if you are in Bowling Green, you probably do want to head to your destination pretty quick or get off the roads, because while it's not necessarily severe, you are going to be socked in with some pretty heavy rain here soon. I mean, you can definitely see that. We were talking behind the scenes earlier about flooding being an issue. Haven't seen any flash flood warnings issued yet. I actually had the marker turned off, but none so far. But this is some very heavy rain, and it will take a little while to get through. As I'll loop it here, and these are actually from. It's got a glitch in it because we're missing several frames, but it's going to take a little while. And it's certainly got some heavy rain. This is moving more or less north-northeast. So, down trees in Ohio County? Okay. Is there a community associated?
It was off of Taylor Lake Road.
Cromwell. Okay. Yep. So I think Lucas relayed something from there earlier. So, sounds like some higher winds move through Cromwell. Thankfully, that's the extent of what we know from Ohio County. And again, let me fast forward to the current frame. This is the heavier rain that would be moving into Bowling Green. Franklin's already getting it, and certainly Russellville is, and heaviest stuff's coming down around Corinth and Middleton and near Epley's. I have the hail markers turned on. We're not turning up any of those. So what we do, but this is out of our range. The closest one is south of Robertson County. So I'm sure we've been sitting back a while long enough to have another slice come in. This is as of 8:12, so perhaps not. Let's go to the higher res stuff just to make sure. This is 8:14. Okay, so this is a little better. What was near Springfield is kind of collapsed. Not that it was totally organized to begin with, but that's sort of gone away. Certainly the brighter greens are gone. I would probably watch this near Adairville just because you have some reds and greens starting to want to, notching action, nosing coming together. These are just the little things that I'm certain. This is what National Weather Service does when things like this roll in. They just have people monitoring the whole line, and with every scan go through it and see if there's anything starting to spin up, because in all reality these things can be on the ground for less than 5 minutes and can happen in between radar scans, and sometimes you miss them. So we'll do our best to keep an eye on that as well. Let's see. I'm not sure. Lucas is back. Okay. All right, so we'll shake it up a bit. And Lucas, you were away for a little while. Were you happen to be in communication with Jeremy or other guys up there? Are they seeing anything new coming down the line? I think Lucas is even in position here.
Besides what Lucas said.
Yeah, I just got back up here, so I had to run to the restroom real quick. But Jeremy said it's pretty much he's seeing the same things you're seeing. I just saw one of our professors, Dr. Durkee, just posted. He said this line of storms is nearly here has all sorts of small spins in it. So he's echoing what we're seeing. So it's definitely noted that we have potential for little spins to pop up anywhere on this line. So that's something that we want to watch.
Okay, yeah, and we are, well, that's what we're in the process of diagnosing right now. Let's see, I did it again. I need to do radar. This way you can see what we're seeing. There we go. Okay. 8:14 and 8:15 is what we got, so we're waiting for a little more to come in. Let's see. And actually, before I throw it back, so Lucas, this is pretty much a tandem effort going on here between us downstairs and upstairs. Unless we see anything further, would you guys like to... When's your sort of estimated time to shut down the live stream from upstairs? Because we'll probably all do it at the same time if we don't see anything new soon.
Yeah, Weather Service isn't really saying much on their end on issuing anything new. The last transmission we had with them was a little after 8. So I would think maybe we could just power down for now, and if we get any kind of tornado warning, we'll jump right back on here. That would probably be the best bet. I
agree. That may be the best course of action because... Yeah, we halted just for a moment. The warning expired at 8:05, and we wanted just to make sure, since the guys back behind us brought it up, that there was something that we need to keep an eye on. It's now 8:20. Think we're doing okay. Likewise, what Lucas said, if something does pop up, we'll be back. Certainly, especially if the next thing would, if anything starts to act up, it would probably be for Warren, Simpson, and Butler and Logan counties. So that's certainly of utmost priority. So if anything does pop up, we'll be looking at it. I mean, we'll be looking at behind the scenes for sure. But what we'll do now, Lucas, is probably shut this session down and go ahead and coordinate some things behind the scenes. Because we can do that just as easily, like monitoring each scan from behind. So I think for the purpose of just being on air, we'll go ahead and shut that down. But as mentioned, if anything should happen, Arden, myself, Lucas up in Revolution, we're going to be watching it thoroughly. Be right back on if something pops up. So we'll be watching. If warnings come out, yeah, just be sure to stay tuned to us. Note that this link that you clicked on to watch us will expire. Those links are only good for one session, so if we do go back on, please look for us on social media. We'll get that new link out to you because it's unique for every live streaming event that we do. So thanks to the guys upstairs, and thanks to Arden and the crew behind me for really helping me out this evening as we had those warnings roll through. And hopefully we won't have any more technical difficulties. Hopefully we got that resolved. I think our data's coming back pretty well now, so I think that's done. So until we get the next one, if we do, that is, say if we do, but if so, we'll be back on air and we'll be tracking it for you live. So thanks for tuning in, and stay tuned to the WKU Storm Team for all the latest updates.